what we're talking about. You need to understand these feast days and so that you can tell somebody else. That's the only thing gonna make them look at the other side of the coin. Well, try looking at this. Try looking at the Passover versus Easter and seeing which one the Bible is talking about. You know, but if we ain't got it out there, they don't know. All we talk about is what we ain't supposed to do. And if somebody just asks a simple question, well, what are we supposed to do? Explain it to them.
And don't nobody know.
Well, if you got your Saturday, we're going to do it next Saturday. Well, the damn thing you ain't got that Pennsylvania. Hell, he may show up Tuesday. Y'all got to be instant next season and out of season. But y'all, we're going to get back to our topic at hand, One Flesh Part 2. And where we left off, y'all, we was hitting a lot of things concerning becoming one flesh. We hit the laws concerning it. You know, when a man and a woman come together, we was hitting different areas of one flesh. We talked about legal documentation, and what we talking about, y'all, if your helpmeet name doesn't change, then you have to fix some other document that says because surname is supposed to change. When you leave your father's house, lady, the surname changes to your husband. And that's what it says. When you leave your father and mother's house, the surname has to change. Okay, this is a slave name I got anyway. Well, if you can there's paperwork legally, you can change your name to whatever you want. But all we talking about is if the surname is changed on a legal document to where they say if something happened to either side, you can identify. They won't stop you at the door and say, no, you're not next to kin. This don't mean you have to have anything. The Most High don't force nothing on you. There's legal ways around everything. All we saying is that we want you prepared. Anything happen to you, your rib know what's going on, or your husband know what's going on with you and what to do. Because if it's left to your parents who you may have turned cut off and say you ain't with this, and then they have power of attorney over your body, you talking about when you know, man, if anything ever happened to me, bro, this is the way I want it to go down. Well, I ain't got nothing, I can't do nothing. You know, if I ain't next to kin or there's no paperwork. All you can do is try to whisper to his parents or whoever else is in control of that. The next of kin, his children or whatever. If they don't know what the deal is, and he said he wanted to be laid out in Hebrew law. You know, he wanted to strip him there with him, you know, the whole night, however it may be. But when you ain't, and that ain't set up and it ain't in order, you'll find yourself in a lime green jumpsuit with some bowling shoes on. No, they just brought out wrong. That ain't right. But you ain't things ain't in place. So it's hard, y'all, to do those things. We ain't saying y'all have to fall up under the covenant of these nations. There's just different ways. All we talking about is if anything was to happen, you can say, here's the paperwork.
Dot your I's and cross your T's.
Dot your I's and cross your T's, y'all. This is what we talking about. That has to take place if a surname has not changed. If she still has her father's name or different things, you got to have some paperwork that's saying, look, this is between both of us.
That's what all the homosexuals want.
Right,
They
absolutely.
This right to be married. They want to have those same rights as married people.
Well, they also come back.
Shalom, brothers and sisters.
What's up, bro? All right, y'all, we're going to pick it right back up, y'all. We're going to get right back into it. We had got into the ceremonial part, and we had hit the book of Tobit. Now I just want to hit a little bit of Genesis where Jacob went into a ceremony with Leah, but we want to hit out of the book of Asher as well. Anybody got the book of Asher?
You already, I was here that day. You asked me. He said he didn't remember anything about it. Or he don't remember what he did with.
We want to hit in that Sirach, book of Jasher, chapter 31 and 1. Genesis talks about Joseph and Leah and Rachel, but Jacob, and the book of Jasher breaks it down by detail. And it'll tell you everything was taking place. And we know Christ's first miracle was done where? At a wedding.
Wedding ceremony, yeah.
You know, his mother and her sister was there, and he was chilling there, and she came and whispered to him, "Ain't no more wine."
That's the first thing she gave him the heart.
But what we're seeing is that his first miracle, and why was it that? Because it's about marriage. He was showing the physical side practicing for the spiritual. And he showed them how he performed a supernatural event at that way. He turned regular water into living wine, you know.
Would,
go ahead.
Would there have been a problem had they just continued to drink water?
Would have been a problem they continued to drink water? Well, they was not drinking water. They just said, there's no more wine. He told them to go fill up the pots with water.
Okay.
So they was just out. You know, and ain't nothing like it when it's out, man.
No merry
Hats
making.
start going around, all the crowd get thin.
I'm saying had he not turned that, you know, the wine,
They had been drinking water.
they would
Yeah,
and would have been put in.
right, but it's a celebration. So Most High wanted, and y'all, we doing these feast days like we're talking about. When our feast days come up, our majors, when we have a big event like Passover coming up, folks kind of put, I don't want to say on your best, but you put on that one pair of outfit, you know, because everybody's coming to this feast. You know, yeah, you come as you are, and we're not trying to do that, but this is what it is. I mean, it's your one time to show your Israelite garments, if you got them. You know, you represent at the feast, and that's the way it was back in the day. You know, just as well as you see all of these things that we're going to hit on today. So let's get back into
Give
it,
me a
y'all.
second witness real quick. Just real
Go ahead,
quick.
brother.
Didn't we just read the other night about King Ahasuerus' heart
Right.
was married with wine?
Right, all of them. And when we talk about Mary, it's just happy. It's not
Not
over
full.
to the point
Right.
that where it's inflamed with it. When it's inflamed, anger comes out.
Intoxicated.
Right. You're just talking about all you doing, and it says a little wine is good for thy infirmity's sake. If you just got some things on your mind, your stomach trouble, a little wine will cheer that up. What you got now? Let's go ahead.
About the wine, brothers was talking about Sirach, Ecclesiasticus, and the Apocrypha.
Right.
Chapter 31, verse 25.
31 and 25?
Yeah, 25.
I tell you what, we was going to read all of 30. Oh, you a cigarette. I'm sorry about that. 31 and 25. Go ahead.
25 on down to 29.
Go ahead.
It says, show not valiantness in wine.
Right. So, Most High don't want us, well, wine make you a man. Don't drink it, boy. It ain't nothing but some moonshine, 300 proof, and put some hair on your chest. No, it's going to do more than put hair on your chest.
Right.
Go ahead, bro.
For wine have destroyed many.
What did it do now?
Have destroyed many.
Right.
The furnace proveth the edge by dipping. So doth wine the hearts of the proud by drunkenness.
Right.
Wine is as good as life to a man, if it be drunk moderately.
If it be what?
Drunk moderately.
Right.
What life is then to a man that is without wine? For it was made to make men glad.
What was it made for, man?
To make men glad.
That was the first thing that Noah became after getting off the ark, a husbandman. Or, I don't want to look into a liquor store owner, but what it is, he was a husbandman. He had a vineyard. But the only thing he did was got too high on his own supply. That was the
Liquor
problem.
store owner. No.
Yeah.
Noah's Liquors.
Noah's liquors.
But y'all hear all of the jokes when the naysayers against the scripture they talk about in that drunkard Noah. See, this is what the script means, that when a righteous man go from his righteousness won't be remembered no more. That don't mean we ain't gonna remember whatever happened, but the thing that stains you the most is what and how they identify you. They don't look at the ark and bringing and saving mankind and these things that the Most High. They look at old drunk man, you know, or what David did, or what, you know, that when you fell off. Is remember when Solomon fell off. You know, they talk about his bad side because the righteousness, that's what happened, you know. Oh, you mean such and such down at the tire shop killed them 3 people over there? That guy? Yeah, you remember that. You don't remember the righteous things he does. Go ahead now.
Wine measurably drunk and in sync, wine measurably drunk and in season, bringeth gladness of the heart and cheerfulness of the mind.
What it do now?
Bringeth gladness of the heart
Right.
and cheerfulness of the mind.
Right.
But wine drunken with excess maketh bitterness of the mind with brawling and quarreling.
With brawling and quarreling when it's gone too much. Isaiah 11:5, I'm just going to hit this right quick one verse. Woe unto them that rise up early in the morning, that they may follow strong drink, and continue until night, till wine inflame them.
That's
He said,
Isaiah
whoa.
11:5. Isaiah 11:5.
11:5, right. Also Ephesians 5:18 tell us don't be drunk, overly drunk with it, as well as Proverbs 23:29.
I got one.
Go ahead.
Proverbs 20:1. Wine is a mocker.
Right.
Strong drink is deceived. I missed the line. Strong drink is raging.
Right.
And whomsoever is deceived thereby is not wise.
Right. So y'all, we have to be careful on that.
20.
21.
Shalom, y'all.
Proverbs 29 say,
So Proverbs 23:29. That's just another quick one too, and it just says, who hath woe? Who hath sorrow? Who hath contention? Who hath battlings? Who hath wounds without cause? Who hath redness of eyes? They that tarry long at the wine, they that go seek mixed wine. Look not upon the wine when it is red, when it giveth its color in the cup, when it moveth itself aright. At the last it biteth like a serpent, and stinketh like an adder. So it's telling you what it'll do. It'll bum rush you and knock you out if it gets to those points, y'all. So we have to be extra clear that it is for what it is, just to make the heart merry. Don't be over everything in moderation. That's Proverbs 23:29 down through 29 down through 32.
What was that Ecclesiastes you called out, bro? That one was that.
And it was Isaiah 5:11.
No, Isaiah 11:5.
No, is it 11:5?
Isaiah 11:5.
I got 5:11. Isaiah 5:11. More to them to rise up.
Well, you said 11:5.
No, I didn't say that.
You said 11:5. Isaiah 11:5.
Y'all know sometimes
Yeah, exactly. Just flip it around. Isaiah 5:11. Y'all mark that out and put that one down there. Also Ephesians 5:18. And all of these y'all are telling us, and this is with anything. This is even with food. Woe to them that be a glutton. So we have, it's all the thing. It just ain't concerning certain things. You know, if you got a problem overeating and you get acid reflux. All of this is happening from this. This is why they call it acid reflux disease. Well, and what disease is not something that it means when you break the law. You're supposed to have ease in your life. When you break the law, it's dis-ease. That's where the word disease comes from. Go ahead, bro.
Well, I know with everything in moderation, with everything that comes to a point, there's a line you don't cross.
Right.
But in drinking as well as eating, I mean, I've eaten some wonderful meals and you just eat to the point where you know,
Right.
and you still want to. And then I've watched people, they drink to the point where, you know, you've seen them at their limit, but they still continually drink. I mean, when do you know you've reached that line?
Well, actually, an alcoholic basically never knows unless he sits back and see what he's doing. That's just like a glutton. It's a sin to be a glutton. And by being a glutton, you get all these diseases that hit us now. You get the high blood pressure, you get the diabetes, you get the gout, you know what I'm saying, because we overeat. You know what I'm saying? And it causes our bowels, you know what I'm saying, because another thing too, even beef. Beef is the longest, it takes the longest to digest out of your system. You see what I'm saying? And it stays in your colon. You know what I'm saying? So that's what causes them. And the glutton, and like I say, the one who drinks a lot, you don't know when to stop if you don't think you're alcoholic.
Right. But truly, because it takes, people earlier, it takes more to get them going, but what we have to understand is moderation. And the main thing is, because we have to obey the laws of the land, we're going to get back to the top of your hand, and when they say it's 0.08, y'all don't get point or one, once that one jump up in there or 0.09 jump up there, you in trouble. You know, you can't operate a motor vehicle. You can't do any of these things to the point because you're going to be weaving. And they setting up roadblocks out there, so don't let nobody entice you. I know you ain't going to put that hen back on the bar. Boy, that's $10 a shot. Be a man. No, go ahead. We finish that Sirach verse. He's back in that Sirach in the Apocrypha, verse 30 and 31.
Sirach 31, verse 30. Drunkenness increaseth the rage of a fool.
What it do?
It increaseth the rage of a fool.
This is why you say he be okay until he start drinking. Once he start drinking, he go crazy. I had a white boy used to work with me. He told me, he said he had to give up brown liquor. He just drank Bush now. I said, what happened? He said, every time I got into a fight, I always woke up either in the hospital or the back seat of the car. He said the last time was the final time because he said he walked up to a guy and tapped him on the shoulder. He said, you, a couple of names he called him, and he said, I want to have my way with your woman sitting there. And the man let him have it.
He got long.
Yeah. So he's been drinking Bush beer ever since. Go ahead, brother.
Drunkenness increases the rage of a fool till he offend. Till he do what? Offend.
See, he's gonna offend. Drunk man at the family reunion, don't he offend? Drinking, they like, that done been enough, you done had enough. Yeah, how you gonna tell me? Who gonna tell me I got to stop drinking? Who gonna tell me when it's enough? Huh? Was it enough when we told you to leave Henry alone and got him thinking that's his baby?
Everything come out there.
And then he offend now. And now you trying to come, you know he just drank like that. No. There's no excuse for it. You can't justify that. Go ahead, bro.
It diminisheth strength and maketh wounds.
It diminishes strength because you can't walk. And when you walk like this, woo! The concrete is weight. They will rush into your face real quick. And your hands, because you can't, you have no strength, you can't lift your hands up to block yourself from falling, so it's face first.
Rebuke not thy neighbor at the wine.
Rebuke not thy neighbor at the wine. Okay?
And despise him not in his mirth.
And see, despise him not in his mirth. Not only that, if he feel a little sick, he say, man, I'm just drinking a little wine, my stomach hurt me a little. He said, don't rebuke him about that because Ephesians 5 tells us drink a little wine for thine infirmity sake. You know, so if he's under them telling you can't say you shouldn't be drinking at all. No, I say don't do that, but go ahead. What the other part say?
It say, give him no despiteful words, and press not upon him with urging him to drink.
So don't even keep on going like to take it over the line or anything like that. So it's twofold in there. We can't say that's the devil's juice. No, because Christ made wine at a wedding. A lot of them say, well, that was grape juice.
And they call it
Right. So we got grape juice out here that red in the eyes. Because Genesis 49 tells us that Christ's eyes would be red with wine. That don't mean that it's a point that he's drunk. It's just what it does.
It don't mean red like wine either.
Right.
It's red with wine.
Right. And then one more thing too is that wine is not liquor. Wine is wine. Wine ain't more tail than Hennessy.
Right. Hennessy is fermented wine.
Right.
That's what Hennessy is. Woo. Corn whiskey is still. That's hard. That's strong drink. If you look at any hen bottle, it says from the vineyards of such and such. It's just aged wine. That's all it is.
But you
It's just good aged wine.
But you
You know,
using-
we'll have to really look into them Passover script when they talk about get a what of hen. But we don't know. Go ahead, bro.
Hey, that fermented wine, it's just the aged wine.
Yeah, it's just been sitting up like you can have for anything that fermentation, like you can have fermentation within your intestines. If you let things sit in there, you don't get cleaned out like you need to do. You ain't making a regular deposit in the Mississippi. Fermentation is set up in your bowels and different things.
That's when you start getting
Right, and that's where you know you come out the bathroom, you be woo, we need some homicide tape over here. Open the bathroom off. Don't go in there for a while.
20-30 minutes.
Right. Let's get it, y'all. Where we at?
I got you on this.
Y'all, that's just, you got one more problem?
No.
Proverbs,
You said you want to read out of here, didn't you?
Yeah, I'm going to get that next, but I wanted to hit right back to, we want to hit the Genesis with Jacob's wedding.
This one starts?
Laban's daughter.
Where you want to
No, I want to back that up with that.
Second, with this
because
one?
that's going to go into detail.
Okay.
And y'all, what it's doing is telling us about the custom of the people. Let's just hit these two so we'll understand the custom. Hit that 1 Peter 2. We're going to hit that Romans 13. And this is just telling us about the laws of the land. The Most High say, any law of the land say worship another God, you turn your back to it. Spit at it. But if there's governing things, you have to understand some of the laws there, man, it keeps us in check.
Right.
You know, a seatbelt law is, look, how they gonna tell me I have to buckle up a seatbelt? Well, what they do, they took 30 accidents. And out of those 30, the only ones, 28 survived that had seatbelts on. The other was threw out the window. If you are going 55 miles an hour and that car starts doing that, it will fly you out of the window. You can't stop it. The centrifugal force miles away. It's just like if you be spinning a little kid around, how we used to do that, spin each other around, then let go, and you start running and flying over there, you be staggering like a drunk man and hit the ground. That's the same thing would happen with a car at those high rate of speeds like that. And if it get to the point where they have to ticket you to protect your life, we got to understand certain laws are for our benefit. Even though it seems like they're telling me how to drive my car, they're telling you how to survive if you're in an accident in that car, because this is a piece of metal, a piece of structure that's going 55 miles an hour. It may not look that fast when you're in the car on the highway, but be changing a flat out there and watch 55 miles an hour and go by.
Oh, car shape.
Old car shape, what you got out there?
I was say, and I'll speak on it. I can't tell you exactly where it is, but I know it's in the New Testament. The laws of the land are set up for reason for some of us in Israel, for most of Israel, because if we didn't have no laws, let's flat out think about it. If it was just straight up wild, wild west, you can get it in how you fit in. We didn't have no laws. Niggas would go, we the best and the worst of everything, so niggas would be doing it like that there.
I understand this.
We do it like that, girl.
We didn't have no laws. How you gonna go to work and know them housebreakers sitting on the porch waiting on you to go to work? I mean, hell, when you come back, if you do come back and something broke in, the first people you think about is sitting on the porch all day. It probably was them. The old lady walking by with her car, it could be her. She may have her DVD player in that car. I don't care about she's 90 years old. Right. It's whatever suspect, because ain't nobody else around. You immediately start thinking in this like manner when they come through the neighborhood. If they see you sitting on the porch at 8 and they come back through at 2:30, you still sitting there. If a crime happened, they say, well, if he don't know, if he didn't do it, he probably right. Just think about it, y'all. I mean, you have to call them sometime when an event happens, because you can't take it into your own hands. That's another thing. Once I say vengeance is mine. Right. Somebody do something, you'll strap it up and go, I'm going to handle this right here. Judge and jury gonna happen in the street right now. But that may mean the rest of your life in the Great Bar Motel. Right. It's chilling for the rest of your life. And then you got to eat what they tell you. You go to sleep when they tell you. You wake up when they tell you. And you work. If you was making $10 an hour, now you're making 7 cents a month. Right. Only one roll of toilet paper. Huh? You'd be an expert at it. One sheet per day.
Say once.
Where we at here, bro?
Going to 1 Peter. And we're going 1 Peter 2, verse 13, and Romans 13, 1. We're going to hit on the laws of the land just to get this established first. And so we get a clear understanding of what this means. This don't mean that if this law tells us to disobey our God, the Most High say, no, we don't do it. Because you know Peter now, at one point they say, ain't you heard that the king say you're supposed to bow down and worship God? They're like, oh no, y'all went too far. We don't go that far.
We ought to obey God.
That man. Right. So you can't tell us to go against him.
That's what Mordecai said.
Right. Let's get it.
Daniel too. Daniel
Daniel,
they
absolutely.
signed that decree that you can pray to another nobody for 30 days.
Right.
The ink wasn't even dry on the document.
Right.
Daniel went and prayed to his God.
That's right.
We got him thrown in the lion's den. So we ought to obey the Most High.
That's what we ought to do.
But like brother was saying, there's certain laws that's in place for our safety, like not running a red light, stop sign, clicking a ticket. I mean, it's for your well-being. That's all that
Think
is.
about them jack moves. When they going through,
Speeding
they
tickets,
can
you know,
see red 2 blocks from it, and they at 80 miles an hour. You sitting at the light, you don't hear them coming. You pull out, and I think these are lights that the government telling you, okay, y'all can go, y'all stop. Just think about if it wasn't that. Guess who invented the stoplight? The Israelite.
What they
He
do?
kept seeing crashes at intersections. The inventor of the video games,
The phone,
the internet, all of this is brothers, Israelites. But they can't get the patent. Most of these companies today, when they put you in the shop, they say, we're going to pay you this much. And you're like, oh, them a lot of numbers.
Yeah.
But they say, anything you come up with, anything you better our product, is ours.
it's ours.
We'll give you a little bit on the promotion, but that patent belongs to us because you're working for us.
So he said.
Go ahead, let's get him out.
That's on
Go. You got bro. Go ahead,
Yeah,
bro.
2 and 13.
People 2 and 13.
Yeah.
They tell you who that they claim came up with the phone. Alexander
Graham
Graham.
Bell, right.
He had a slave named Latimer
Right.
that came up with the phone and all that. And then he kept the patent, you know, he got the patent and all that for us, but he gets the credit for it.
Right.
But his slave Latimer actually came up with the phone.
Same way with the light. Y'all think that when you a slave, how you gonna get a patent? How you bring the light here? Well, look here, master, these 2 wires here. The cross, these 2 like this here. That light. Okay, I'm gonna give you a pair of them shoes I've been wearing for 10 years. You get them shoes. The rest of the slaves walking barefoot. And he go down and take the patent down there. The brother that even invented more to put the filler in, and what's that carbon filler that's inside, that was invented by a brother to give it wattage, that a light bulb could last 2,000 hours. That first light that he took down, that was lasting 20 minutes. Go ahead, bro.
It was, what's that movie? I think it's something from the Lord made where Mos Def was in there and he did a heart surgery.
He did the heart surgery.
And he gave it to the white boy.
He was a janitor or something. Wasn't he a janitor first?
He was studying up under the white boy, but he ended up coming up with it. And the white boy ain't gonna take it.
There was, yeah. I ain't saying that movie.
Yeah, they finally gave him. Yeah, he was older.
And y'all have to understand that, y'all, when y'all know this is the way it goes. You know, it's what they've been doing for the longest. They take back. It's just like all of the record labels out here. You can start your own, but the bottom line is you want to distribute this shit and all this, you coming through us.
You can have that old boy now.
Let's get it.
1 Peter chapter 2, verse 13. Submit yourselves to every ordinance of man for the Lord's sake.
For do what?
Submit yourselves to every ordinance of man for the Lord's sake.
For the Lord's sake, y'all, not for man's sake. For the Lord's sake. If, like you say, we're talking about seatbelts and stop sign, that's for the Lord's sake, because if you don't obey them and you get killed, there's nothing else you can do for the Lord. Your work is done. Ain't no work in the grave. Ain't none of that in the grave. How they gonna tell me I got to stop when I see red? I ain't controlled like no damn slave. Well, okay. Right. You wanna be a daredevil and dare the devil? Go ahead. That's what he told Christ. Jump off the cliff. Angels will save you. Bungee jumping and all of that stuff, these are daredevils. That's what they call it. They dare the devil.
And it's kept in the Most High.
That's right.
Does that include roller coasters?
Well, yeah, if you can't handle it, if you get over there and it look like you got a rack of pool balls in the back of your pants, you don't need to be on nothing that scare you like that. A rack of pool balls. You don't need to be on that. You done seen them. If something scare you to death, you go in the haunted houses, you You don't need to be scared to death like that. Some terrify you to bust your heart open.
Yeah.
No, the Most High said, govern yourself. You know, don't put yourself in a position where your next waking moment is the resurrection. You like the last thing to be is you got your feet being pulled up into the bed with your children around. Not your last thing come to mind, you hollering like on some of the pictures they have at Six Flags and somebody's eyes is big and they holler. No, that'll give you a heart attack. And then you holler, stop it, let me off now. They just keep going. Just keep going till they get off. You throw it up everywhere. And you don't tell you that Mr. Freeze at Six Flags got me don't do nothing but be staying over in Kitty Land.
Get on the mine train.
I'm running my mouth and that thing so gave me whiplash. I'm telling you, every time I've been there, I can tie my shoes for 2 months. Because every time it threw my equilibrium.
First time I rode this, I was talking this. Shout out.
Right. Let's get it, y'all.
Let me just say it right quick too, and the same thing that gives that effect also is that 3D.
Absolutely.
It does the same thing. That's why we got to stay away from it.
Right, absolutely. Y'all. In the movie theaters?
3D at home, at movie, on your phone or whatever.
If you put those glasses on and you start feeling dizzy, that ain't for you.
In general,
It's not it because high def is the same thing. Only to you, high definition is the same thing. It's to tell a vision to life.
Reality.
To make it like you can reach out and touch it. We used to have what's called Viewmaster, where you click down. Remember how clear that was, and like the image was right here, and everything behind it was. It's like it was set. This is what high def does. That didn't bother us too much, but you put on this and it start making you dizzy, or you know, like strobe light make people dizzy. You got to stay out the club because it messes with your equilibrium and it causes some problems. The movie, that one movie, the cartoon, something with a P. What was that? It's driving children crazy. Pokemon.
Yeah,
also,
Japanese cartoons.
That last vampire movie, what they call it, Twilight. There's a scene with the lady having a baby of the vampire and the human. They got flashing red and strobe lights. People are throwing up in the theater, run out. If somebody got a computer, Google Twilight movie causing sickness. And you'll see that these things are designed for that, but they just looking for the weekend. What you try to do is you get yourself, I know I can watch a damn movie. Ain't no movie like they gonna keep me out of the theater. Don't challenge it like that. Don't fool yourself. Go ahead, brother.
I was just saying, me and brother was talking about this last week. There's one brother, he got some little science degree behind this on the brainwashing technique and so forth. But, you know, in the 50s, they did this with American cinematography. They had flash things that you so fast that you don't realize that it's subconsciously. Right. And flash popcorn.
Subliminal seduction.
This is the thing, this is a new thing, and they let us know before when, like in the, I think it was like the mid-80s, Digital Underground came out with Nuclear. People don't even trip off it with a song. People don't trip off it. It was called Sex Tactics. And it was talking about a drug. That if you take this, now don't trip off of it because it's not real. Just try one $1 or $2. You can be with a guy, girl, a bunch of them. Just take this pill and pop it. So that's X right there. But then you got the 3D deal that they coming out with. So you pop you an X pill, and you look at this 3D movie, you don't know what's real.
Well, that's the whole deal.
Right.
With that invention comes the drug. It's just like the beast and the image of the beast. It's a two-part system, so they got to get that third eye open for that to work. But if you got the Holy Spirit dwelling with you in the laws of the Most High, I don't care what you watch, because as long as HD out there, it's designed for every channel. Either you cut the TV off, or you cut it off, or you have to get strengthened up to be able to view certain things. You know, one of the two. But if the Spirit is right with you, it can't hurt you. It cannot hurt you because you're not looking into it for the stuff of it. What does it say? Read that, Mal.
It say, this is about Twilight, the movie Twilight. It says, fans of the Twilight movies have much more to worry about other than the series of films coming to a close next year.
Right.
As a scene in the latest installment has reportedly been causing viewers across the country to have seizures.
Seizures.
Several instances of people saying they have developed seizures during the tense birthing scene in Breaking Dawn Part 1 have been reported.
The intense birth scene, understand this, they are trying to mimic the birth of the Antichrist because it's a supernatural being, it's a vampire mixing with human flesh.
Right.
And they are trying to mimic like Christ's birth. When you read in some of the lost books, it said there was no blood with Christ. When the midwife came in, he was already born. They had to get through the light first, and they like, there's no blood or nothing. What was the midwife that come in here? When they went to go get the midwife and came back, he was already born. No blood, no nothing, no placenta, none of that. So we have to understand, and they're trying to do the same thing. Go ahead, bro.
It says the in-theater seizures, also known as photosensitive epilepsy.
You see that photosensitive epilepsy. So everybody it won't affect, but some people, the chemical, it messes with the chemicals in their brain and cause imbalance. Go ahead, bro.
Same thing happened with the Kanye West video.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Bad.
What was the name of that?
All of the lights.
All of the lights. Yeah, they had to ban that.
Flash
Yeah.
by real fast and it caused epilepsy.
Right. See, if you in a club and that strobe light going, you on X. See, now the strobe light and the X work together.
Yes. Right.
See, so now you crazy and now you just, it don't matter because it's got your feeling how you should be with a woman and that strobe light flash and you just up on a man and saying, you don't know what you doing.
They gonna make me love the demons. They don't even know it. They gonna think it's TV. It's real talk.
It says the in-theater seizures, also known as photosensitive epilepsy, are thought to be a result of the bright flashing of red, black, and white during the film's nerve-wracking scene.
Nerve-wracking scene.
It says Brandon Gephardt and Kelly Ballman had gone to see Breaking Dawn Part 1 last Friday when Gephardt began convulsing, snorting, and trying to breathe, according to Ballman. Wow. He doesn't remember anything, he says, but soon awoke on the theater floor and was taken out by paramedics. The remainder of the screening was canceled.
And that's just at the screen. Go ahead.
You know, you were speaking of rides, and I was thinking how my grandkids told me, Granddaddy, this is no problem, you can ride it. You had to tell me a second time, you know, because I wouldn't get on it, and I knew my mind told me that I was on this ride, but nothing told me that I was going to be going, I thought, in the hundreds, riding down, you know, and then taking the time going up the barrel and making it, and off the chain, you know, but I guess it was my mind telling me that something could happen, you know, but never again.
Right.
Never again. I learned that in grade school.
You don't have to what it does is it don't make you a punk. It just lets you know where your limit is at. Every man need to know his limitations. You got to know it. Mine ain't gonna be his. His ain't gonna be his. Yours is what yours is, and don't let nobody buffalo you into something else. You still riding them Model T cars in Kitty Land? Come on, get on the Ninja. No.
Hey, let's finish this up. What's the name of that Kanye West video?
All of the lights.
All of the lights.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's pick that up here.
2 Peter chapter 2. Hold on. See it over. 1 Peter 2, verse 13.
Right.
Submit yourselves to every ordinance of man for the Lord's sake, whether it be to the king as supreme, or unto governors, as unto them that are sent by him for the punishment of evildoers, and for the praise of them that do well.
Now understand this, when we just had Purim, Mordecai was given a governor's position to go out and take the law. So you think he's pumping wickedness from Persia? Or Daniel put it in second command? He was a governor. We've never ascended to the heights in our land by captivity or running anything. We always in second command or
Joseph in Egypt.
But Joseph in Egypt. So what we do is we rule by that according to the Most High law. Daniel knew what a lion was at that. Yeah, he said, look, click it and click it, Hebrew. You know, but when it came to this part, bow down to another God, he told him, no, Pharaoh, this ain't happening here. This is where I have to draw the line. But we always been governors, mayors, and different things like that in town. You read that in the book of Esther, 6, 7, 8 chapter. Also, Joseph was the governor of Egypt. He was put in second command and given the ring as power. So we have to understand when a brother gets put in that power, the Most High will direct some things because he's going to see the order if it's for our destruction. Unless he's been sold out like a David. Who told, y'all watch that 10 Commandments, he told Pharaoh, he said, you would kill your own mother. He said, if it pleases the Pharaoh. Let's get it, y'all.
Verse 15. For so is the will of God, that with well-doing ye may put to silence the ignorance of foolish men.
See, son, that's what it's doing. You know, it's saying, man, look, how you going to disobey this and the only other side of this is jail? When you start telling yourself, man, I can do 10 on my head. No. When you can just stop at a stop sign, you're going to go from this out here, able to do whatever you want to do, to this over here, because you don't like a stop sign.
Ridiculous man.
But, right, but then you go to a place where you like this,
Make it stop sign.
right. Just behind here, they tell you not only this, when to stop, but now they tell you when you go to the toilet, when you can turn off the lights, when all the TVs go off, you go from that to that because you're saying they can't tell me what to do. I don't follow no white man's laws.
They don't do nothing but keep them off your back anyway.
That's all they do. Once you learn how to drive 55 and know where the popo's hiding at, it's not a fact that you scared of that. It's just the fact that they say it's 55, just drive 55.
You got time to be up in your corner, man. I got better things to do.
See,
and y'all know we done already timed the ride to work. You got to be there at 8. We timed it to 7:58 when we walk through the door. Now, a stop by the police gonna go, that's a problem.
Yep. See, the best stop from a police officer is to still be able to pull away.
That's right.
Not be taken away.
That's right.
We learn as we get older about responsibilities of insurance, license, and registration. They don't even ask for your registration no more. All they want is license and insurance. You got that, keep moving. Unless you done something. And you pay your tickets and you go to court because that's how you get taken away.
Go ahead, bro. Read that on down to verse 20.
Verse 16. As free, and not using your liberty for a cloak of maliciousness, but as the servants of God.
Right.
Honor all men. Love the brotherhood. Fear God. Honor the king. Servants, be subject to your masters with all fear, not only to the good and gentle, but also to the froward.
This means that don't go in the courtroom when the judge have power. All he has to do is hit the gavel, Rusty the bailiff, and cuff him. You know, he ain't pulled that gun out in 30 years, but they say cuff him. You have to be wise as a servant. If it's saying that, you know, the main thing is stay out of that courtroom. Why should you put yourself in there where you have to, I ain't gonna say your honor, and I ain't pulling my damn hat off. They say, okay, we can fix that. Start them off with 30 days in the hole. Ain't gonna be no toilet, and it ain't gonna be no bed. We're gonna see how you like laying on this floor, trying to find a spot that your pee ain't ran across yet. There ain't no bathroom in there. And then they'll bring you back after 30 days. Head matted up, ain't no comb. How you feeling now? You gonna do this?
Hatless.
You ain't broke me yet. Give them 60 more. Don't put yourself in that position, y'all. Stay out of there. You won't have to worry about giving them honor or saying your honor. Don't worry about that. Stay away from that. If you can. Unless it's a legal matter. Go ahead, bro. Yeah.
Two questions. Before it's saying the honor thing, wouldn't that be giving respect to, you know?
No, that's the land. See, that, what he's saying is, that's something that you got to do. And first of all, let the Lord know that we are subject unto this.
Right.
Just like when Matthew 23, 8, 9, 10 says, call no man master. But we had to call the slave master, master. You know, we are subjected under this law. But it's not that we are honoring them by doing so. That's the law of the court system. Like when a judge come in and they say, all rise, keep sitting down. See what I'm saying? You have, that's their law that you have to obey. Plain and simple.
Now, do we have to call them honor? Can we just call them judge?
You can say judge.
Yeah, but as long as you
Judge
tell
your
me,
honor.
if
Right.
you're not,
But it's
if you're
just
not,
showing respect.
if you're not showing that you were rebellious,
Right.
you know, just like when they say to swear on the Bible, if you quote them two scriptures to say not to on what they give you to do it with, they're gonna honor that.
Right. If you say I affirm, I don't swear, I affirm.
Exactly.
They'll
It's
let
totally
you
different.
affirm.
Right.
And affirm, the difference in swear and affirm is swear is a solemn oath.
They have.
You're saying I'm bringing God into swearing now. If I do wrong, that's where the perjury come up at. But if you say I affirm, that means that I'm going to try to agree to the things best to my knowledge. If I'm wrong in the area, y'all can't say I'm a liar or a perjurer because I'm affirming what I know. There may be some holes in this, but I'm just affirming what I know. But swear, when you say swear, I'm absolutely sure that I'm going to do this under no circumstances. This is what I'm doing. That's why the Most High said, don't swear to me. Just let your yea be yea and your nay be nay.
Check this out. I got something out this Baruch 3 about being subject to these.
That's in the Apocrypha.
The book of Baruch, chapter 3.
Go ahead.
Verse 8 through 12. The book of Baruch, chapter 3, verse 8 through 12. 13. Yeah, but he goes into that how Israel is subject to subject to these fines and payments amongst their captivity.
Go ahead.
As in Baruch 3 and 8, he says, "Behold, we are yet this day in our captivity, where thou hast scattered us for a reproach and a curse, and to be subject to payments, according to all the iniquities of our fathers, which departed from the Lord our God. Hear, Israel, the commandments of life. Give ear to understand wisdom. How happened in Israel that thou art in thine enemy's land, that thou art waxing old in a strange country, that thou art defiled with the dead, that thou art counted with them that go down into the grave. Thou hast forsaken the fountain of wisdom.
Right.
For if you had walked in the way of God, you should have dwelled in peace forever."
You hear that? So now, since we refuse to obey the Lord's command, he said, well, I give you to the command of these people that you like. You want to be like them? Well, I'll put you under